Waist.
Good morning. How are you doing this morning?
I'm thankful for my neck.
I'm back.
I'm thankful for my
Good morning.
shoulders.
It's a lovely morning this morning. It's the Angela Lee Show. And we're talking about how we can recover from adversity.
Fingers.
How are you doing? Join me this morning.
I'm thankful for my nose.
I am so thankful this morning that I'm alive. I'm thankful for my nose. And thank you for my head. I'm thankful. What are you thankful for this morning? I'm thankful for life.
I'm grateful.
I am so grateful to be alive this morning. I am so thankful. I am so grateful to the universe for sparing my life. Hi Debbie, how you doing? I'm so grateful to the universe for sparing my life, for making me see a new day, for making me see even halfway through the year, because it's going to be June soon. I am grateful. I am hopeful. Despite the challenges, I am hopeful. I am grateful for the lessons that we have to go through, for the challenges. I am grateful. How about you? How are you doing this morning? I am thankful. Gratitude is so important. I am so thankful for my family. I am so thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my children. I'm thankful for my job, for my employers. I'm thankful that I can even work. I am thankful for my studies that I'm doing. I'm thankful for the roof over my head. I'm thankful for my health. Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? I'm grateful. I'm thankful. Thankful for life. Thank you that I've got peace of mind. I'm thankful. I'm so thankful this morning. What are you grateful for this morning? Let me know. What are you grateful about this morning? I'm so thankful. I am so grateful. What are you grateful for this morning? I'm giving thanks. Carol Fraser, how are you doing? I thank the universe for all the lessons that I had to learn. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. They were challenging lessons, but I'm grateful for them because it shaped and it molded me. I am so grateful. I'm so thankful this morning. I am grateful to be alive. What are you thankful for about this morning? Good morning to you, all of you that are listening to me on social media, on my YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe. Angela Lee, haven't been on there for ages. We're also streaming live on Anchor FM. You can listen via Spotify this morning. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. Oh, I'm grateful for high vibrations. I'm grateful for high frequencies. I am so grateful this morning. What are you grateful for this morning? Good morning. What are you grateful for this morning? Let me know. What are you thankful for this morning? I am so grateful. I am so thankful. I am so grateful. I want to give praise to the universe, giving praise to Source for everything that he has done, for everything that he's taken me through. I am so grateful. I am so thankful. I give him praise. I give Source praise this morning. I am so grateful. I am so thankful this morning. What are you thankful for this morning? It's the Angela Lee Show this morning. It's the Angela Lee Show this morning. Good morning. Good morning. I am so grateful. I am so thankful to the universe for everything that he has provided me with, supplied me with. I am so grateful. Thank you, universe. Thank you for keeping me. Thank you for anchoring me. Thank you, universe, for grounding me. Thank you for giving me a sense of worth and value and purpose. This morning, I'm thankful. I'm grateful this morning. I am so grateful. What about you this morning? Good morning to you this morning. We're starting our show with an attitude of thankfulness, with an attitude of being grateful this morning, because it's so important. It's so important to give thanks this morning. It's so important. The benefits of gratitude is absolutely enormous. I've actually seen it. It opened doors for you. It sort of ignites the universe to work with us in terms of what we want to achieve this morning. And so good morning to you. Many blessings to you this morning. I'm back on Facebook Live. You can actually also listen on Anchor FM via Spotify this morning. Good morning. I am grateful. I am so happy to be here, to be alive. I am thankful for the universe. What about you? This morning we're going to be saying our affirmations in a few minutes. And on the show this morning, we're talking about how you can overcome adversity. Is based on your solid or your pseudo self. It's based on how you see yourself, how you view yourself. It's going to actually be the determining factor on how you recover from adversity this morning. So before we start this morning, I want to say good morning to all of you that are listening on our social media platforms this morning. And we're going to be doing our positive affirmations. So wherever you are this morning, I want you just to enjoy the show and sit back, or whether you're lying down, listening to my voice. Let's do our positive affirmations this morning. And we're going to start with our breathing exercises as we do, because we know the power of breathing, don't we? And so let's take a deep breath in for the count of 3. And let's exhale. Let's do that again. And let's exhale all that stress that we've probably have attributed for the week. Let's do it again. Let's take a deep breath in. Let's inhale. And let's exhale. I had a lovely session of yoga on Thursday. I tell you, it was absolutely amazing. All that breathing and stretching that we did in yoga. It's amazing. You should try it. It actually raises your vibration. It's amazing. Okay, so let's do our affirmations. Good morning to you this morning. I am thankful for life, that I'm still here. Let's say our affirmations this morning. I am thankful for my health. And I'll tell you what, for someone that's recovering from a brain tumor, anxiety, depression, chronic insomnia, the list goes on. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for my health. And so when I'm thankful for my health, you best believe why I'm saying I'm thankful for my health. I'm thankful for my health. I'm grateful for my family. I'm thankful for the lessons and the challenges that help me to grow. I tell you, and some of these challenges, they do stretch us, but they help us to grow. My strength is stronger than my challenges. My strength is stronger than my challenges. And I tell you, I've been through so many challenges and still going through many challenges. And guess what? My strength, your strength, is stronger than your challenges. My experiences shape me to become the highest version of myself. And so when we're going through our challenges, it's shaping us to become the highest version of self this morning. So good morning to you. For those that are joining me for the first time, good morning. Good morning. Carol Fraser saying highly recommended, The Hero's Journey, Joseph Campbell. Absolutely, I'm going to get that book. I'm a lover of books. I'm going to actually get that. Thank you for sharing that, Carol. How are you doing this morning? And so this morning we are talking about how we are going to be recovering from adversity. Is based on how we see ourselves. But let's have a look first of all on that word adversity. I haven't shared the show yet to anyone, as I usually do, because I'm going to share it later. And so let me just get on with the show. Let me just get on with it, because we've got lots of things to cover here. And so adversity, what does it look like? What does it mean? Adversity is actually a difficult or an unpleasant situation. That's what adversity is. It's a challenge. It's something that makes us feel uncomfortable. It's a difficult situation. And so when we are faced with a challenge, are you plagued with anxiety? Do you see it, or do you see it as an opportunity for growth? Do you know, when you meet a challenge, you think, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Why do I have to go through this? Who hates me? Do you blame the devil? Do you blame evil forces? Or do you see it as an opportunity to grow? How we recover from challenges and adversity has a lot to do with our core self and what that represents in terms of how we see ourselves, in terms of how we view challenges. And this is usually based on our life's experiences in terms of our childhood modeling that has shaped our perception in terms of how we see the world. And so if we are, if challenges has been modeled as an experience of an earthquake or an experience of severe distress, and we've seen our parents panic when they deal with challenges. If we've seen our caretakers, people that have taken care of us, or our guardians panic or go through a level of despair when they go through challenges, and guess what? That is what we're used to. That's what has been modeled to us, and it's going to be something that has been projected and transferred to us, and we will inevitably act out or live out that modeling in terms of how you deal with challenges. And so it shapes our perception in terms of how we see and view challenges, and how on our coping mechanisms in terms of how we can actually deal with challenges. If we had like a panic-stricken mother or a panic-stricken father or caregiver, then that's been projected to us, that's been transferred, and we're going to inevitably act out our own way or method on how we deal with our challenges. And so as many of you know, that I'm actually doing a master's in psychology and mental health, and I can tell you it's been breathtaking in terms of the knowledge. It's been really insightful, and it's not only helped me to develop, but it's helping me to support my clients and my students. And so stage theorists, and I know that many of us are quite familiar with stage theorists in terms of the 5 stages or the 3 stages on how an individual can recover from either adversity and loss. And we've taken that on board as being the Bible, or as being, the truth in terms of how we can recover from adversity or loss. However, it's been really, as I mentioned, insightful in terms of this master's course that I'm doing, because we're sort of unpicking it, and we have sort of relearned and I've learned that actually we are more resilient than what we make out, and that our ability to recover quickly is actually based on either our solid self or our pseudo self, and we're going to be discussing that later on in the show this morning. So good morning to you. And so if you're listening for the first time, we're talking about how we recover from adversity is primarily based on how we see ourselves this morning. And as I mentioned, we're streaming live on Anchor FM. You can listen to it on Spotify, and we're streaming live on our Facebook channel, on our social media channel platforms, as well as the YouTube channel. Angela Lee, so don't forget to subscribe this morning. And so essentially it's based on primarily self-awareness. And I know that I have been homing in on self-awareness, and it's so key, because how we recover from adversity, from our struggles, from our challenges, is based on our self-awareness and how we see ourselves, how we view ourselves. And so do you monitor or observe your behavior in terms of your thoughts and your patterns and your habits? I mean, I really scrutinize myself, and sometimes I let myself down, but guess what? I don't beat myself up. I just brush myself off, and then I keep it moving, and then I learn and I grow and I stretch. And so our ability to scrutinize ourselves, to reflect on our behavior and monitor our thoughts and our patterns is crucial. It's key. And in his book, Honoring Self, Nathaniel Branden says, our psychological freedom is a powerful force within the psyche. In the possibility of self-awareness and self-monitoring lies the possibility of change, of evolution, and some reasonable measure of control over our existence. And so if we have that ability to tap into ourselves, to reflect on self, then Nathaniel Brandon is suggesting that it's a powerful force within the psyche for evolution and growth, and an element of control in terms of our existence, because we excuse me, oh dear, because we will then have self-regulation. And so, are you struggling with past traumas, triggers, or schemas? And if your answer is yes, then these are going to be determining factors in terms of how you respond or react to the colourful life events. And so, if you haven't done your unfinished business of your childhood, if you haven't sorted it out, if you haven't done the shadow work that you need to do in order to recover from your backstory, then when you're faced with challenges, it's actually going to impact on your ability to recover. So do you have a mental coach? A mental coach. I mean, I'm a coach. Or do you have a trusted friend? Or do you have a counselor? And in terms of have that trusted friend, have you got a trusted friend where they can actually give you valuable feedback and tell you where you're going wrong? Or are you surrounded with yes people that will dance and sing to your hymns? It's so crucial that we have the right people around our inner circle that can actually tell us the truth about ourselves. Very important. And that we embrace it with love, because they're helping us to grow. So this morning, we're talking about how we can recover from adversity. It's so crucial because it's going to help us in terms of how we process that recovery stage. And so let's have a look at the solid self versus the pseudo self. And it's based on Bowen in 1976 that actually came up with this theory in terms of the differentiated and the undifferentiated self. And so the solid self, what does that solid self look like? And so the solid self is someone that knows what it needs and what it desires. It has a sense of awareness in terms of beliefs, values, and opinions. The solid self, it's connected to life. It feels alive. It has a sense of purpose, and they have their principles. They have a sense of awareness in terms of themselves, not only themselves, but on others. And so in terms of that relationship system, in terms of, whether people are good for themselves, good for them or not. So they have, they're aware of who's good for them. They can differentiate toxicity from healthy relationships. The solid self, they have the ability to bounce back and recover quickly after breakdown. They're interdependent. They're not dependent. They're not reliant on people to make them happy. They're not reliant. And so the pseudo self, they tend to react to those around them. So they're very reactive. Anyone can actually yank their strings, pull them from pillar to post. They tend to operate by rules and customs and expectations. And so they're not living their lives for themselves. They're living it, probably they're awfully religious, perhaps. And I'm not actually putting it out there for anyone that's actually religious, but they're very rigid to the confines of customs and rules and expectations of others. They do not believe in themselves. They don't even know what they're here for. They haven't got a sense of purpose. They're a product of emotional pressure. And so, as I mentioned, they're very reactive. And they're codependent. They rely on others for their self-worth, for their sense of value. people pleasers, perhaps. And so this morning, we're talking about how you recover from adversity is based on those two scenarios. And so a commitment to self-awareness is the will to understand the central pillar of positive self-esteem. And so the pillar of positive self-esteem is being aware of self and being happy with self. And it's a part of also being, self-accepting. We're not perfect, but we accept self. We accept our backstories. We accept ourselves. And the potential range of awareness also depends on the extent of our intelligence. And I know that Carol has shared a book with us that we can actually read. And so if you're someone that aspires to stretch yourself intellectually in terms of expanding self, then self-awareness depends on that. It entails the behavior of seeking to integrate to our best ability the knowledge and the ability that which enters into our mental field, as well as the efforts to keep expanding, as I said, growing and learning. And that's the beginning of our self-assertion and self-consciousness. The act of grasping and seeking and hearing. I mean, I listen to a lot of audio motivational speakers and motivational messages, so I'm hearing. And so that's expanding me, that's stretching me. I read a lot of books. Lots of people on the thread reads lots of books. And so that expands our knowledge and on our intellect. And as I mentioned, I'm doing my master's in psychology and mental health, and that's expanding my knowledge and my intellect. And so that's a part of self-awareness. In addition to actively responding to signals that we get, that tuck, that pull, that gut feeling, listening to our intuition rather than passively ignoring them, this is the foundation of that solid self, of developing that solid self that's going to anchor you in the midst of challenges, in the midst of adversity. Equally, if you have a sense of self, you have a sense of who you are, and it's primarily based on your beliefs, as I mentioned, your beliefs and your principles. And so if you have not got a set of beliefs and principles, then guess what? You're going to be swayed from pillar to post. And so it's based on a set of principles. And so that when challenges arrive, you're not easily rocked somewhat because you are anchored by your sense of value, your sense of worth, your sense of purpose. And so you can form some sort of resilience in the time of storm. In the midst of your storm, you can form some sense of resilience because you know who you are. And so you're not going to be easily rocked because you know who you are. And as I mentioned, I haven't shared the show as I usually do, but I'm going to post it later on. I just want to get on with it. So good morning to you. And so when we look at adversity or challenges that we encounter in our lives, it is inevitable. Like the good book says, the rain shines on the just and the unjust. And so struggles come to us all. The good, the bad, and the ugly, the rich or the poor. And so struggles and adversity is inevitable. But how we deal with it is primarily how we see ourselves. And it has an enormous impact in terms of our recovery process, how we view ourselves. And so if we are committed to self-awareness in terms of learning new things, acquiring new skills to accomplish tasks, learning new habits, making new choices, growing and learning from our mistakes, and seeing adversity and challenges as an opportunity for growth, then it reinforces our choices and gives us a sense of appropriateness in life. And it becomes, it feels natural when we start doing this. And so fundamentally, a commitment to awareness is a commitment to thinking. as a way of life. And I mean, we're not passively going through life. We're actually thinking. We're being mindful. We're being mindful not of only our thinking. We're being mindful of our behavior. We're being mindful of our environment, of those around us. We're being mindful of our behavior. We're being mindful of our choices. And it's a source of expression in terms of our positive self-esteem when we can express ourselves. Because we think with a sense of choice, with a sense of freedom. The way you think about yourself profoundly impacts the way we allow people to actually influence our lives, or whether we're going to be easily persuaded in terms of the opinions of others, the way we see ourselves. And so, what is it that I'm talking about this morning? I'm talking about exercising your right to think for yourself, the right of autonomy, the right to make your own choices, and your decisions is based on being aware, as we mentioned, in terms of our environment, our surroundings, in terms of ourselves, our thoughts, our feelings, and the ability to monitor yourself, as I mentioned. And so practicing mindfulness, being present, not consistently worrying about the yesterdays, the mistakes of the past, our backstory, being present, not stressing on the future, which has not arrived, but being present and accepting our reality of our situation, accepting the reality of our challenges, and the ability to remain calm and peaceful in the midst of the storm is so key in terms of how we're going to recover from our challenges of life. And sort of accepting the fact that, there's sometimes we can't actually change anything. We just have to just go through the process and have the confidence that everything is actually working out for our higher good. So having that confidence with a higher source that everything is working out for our higher good. Okay, I'm going to see you in a minute, and we're going to continue the conversation. And perhaps in the break, I can perhaps try and post it to a couple of places. See you in a bit.
Success is in my reach, I deserve it.
See you in a minute. Thank you for joining me this morning. We're talking about how we can recover from adversity this morning. How are you doing? How are you going to recover from adversity this morning? We're talking about that this morning. How are you doing? How we recover is based on how we believe in ourselves, how we see ourselves this morning. How are you doing this morning? Do you believe in yourself this morning? Do you believe in yourself this morning? How we see ourselves is key in terms of how we're going to recover from adversity, as I mentioned this morning. I'm just going to be trying to see if I can post this show to a couple of places while we continue to have a chat this morning. How we see ourselves this morning. Thank you for joining me this morning. Put your comments in. Feel free to share your comments this morning. Feel free. And you know what? We don't have to apologize for who we are this morning. We can embrace who we are and be confident in who we are this morning. Do you believe in yourself this morning? Do you believe in yourself this morning? Do you believe in yourself this morning? That's what we're talking about. Self-belief. We're talking about self-belief and self-confidence this morning. So important. I've managed just to share it to a couple of platforms, but I want to continue with our conversation, and I can continue to plug it later on, because I know that lots of people are busy doing all sorts of things, shopping, whatever. And so, yeah, however, as I mentioned, how we see ourselves is quite key in terms of how we're going to recover from adversity. And so some of us actually are going to need some support in order to reach to that point of self-awareness. Because some of us, we can't reach there on our own. So welcome back to the second bit of the show. This is for the radio purposes. And so some of us are actually going to need some support in terms of how to recover, because although many of us can actually, sort of tap into resources, and we can go to workshops and we can go on different programs and the so forth, there's some of us that actually are going to need, extra help in terms of, reaching that powerful outcome for ourselves individually, because we're all different, aren't we? And so we need to reach out to a coach. We need to reach out for that support. Perhaps you need to go and see a counselor or get some therapy. Because some of us can't do it on our own, and that's fine. I mean, years ago, I saw a counsellor, and I got some therapy, a few years ago, and I still have a coach. I still have a mentor in my life, because it's something that we're going to need every day, isn't it? It's going to keep us in check. It's good to have that person that we can actually bounce back things from, someone to give us that feedback, that positive feedback or negative feedback that's going to stretch us to grow. It's important to have that person in your life, because that's going to help you to overcome adversity. And that's going to also help us to actually develop new habits and new choices. That's going to help us to actually maneuver and navigate through our challenges. And so this morning, when you are faced with a challenge, how do you respond? How do you respond? I mean, it's similar to perhaps being made redundant, or going through a loss, as it were. How do you view it? Do you view it in a pessimistic type of way, a pessimistic approach, or are you optimistic in terms of seeing it as an opportunity for growth? Many people will suggest that, I mean, and I can actually testify to that, when a door closes, or when a door is shut in your face, how do you respond? How you respond, as we mentioned earlier in the show, is based on how you see yourself. And so if you see yourself in a positive light, that solid self, and you have a sense of purpose, and you have your goals, and you know where you're going in life, then you're going to see it as an opportunity for growth. You know that there's something else is coming around the corner. Something better is coming around the corner for you. That the universe has got a better plan for you. However, if you're seeing it on a negative, then you're going to respond in a negative way, and then it's going to be a cycle of negative patterns that's going to follow consecutively. And so how you see yourself is key in terms of how you recover from your adversity. If a door is closed, then perhaps there's a new door that's going to be open. If you're met with challenges, see it as an opportunity for growth. speak to those challenges and say, okay, universe, what are you trying to teach me? What's the lesson here? What am I supposed to learn? Because if we don't learn from our challenges, if we don't grow, if we don't grasp new knowledge and intellect in terms of what we're going through, then it's going to be a repeated cycle, and we're going to be around this karmic wheel, never reaching an outcome, a positive outcome, always tripping on the same choices or on the same narrative because we haven't learned. And so when we encounter a challenge, we have to say, Source, what are you teaching me? What am I supposed to learn here? How am I going to grow and develop from this? That's the mindset that we need to develop, a growth mindset in terms of how we meet our challenges. Because life is full of colourful lessons. And I remember going through a recent challenge where I could have responded in a negative way because, oh my God, this challenge really stretched me. I was in my right to defend myself or to say a couple of things in my defense, I should say. However, I decided to meet that challenge, with love. I decided to be mindful of that person's behavior and realize and analyze and critique to say, actually, where is this person coming from in terms of their behavior, in terms of the way they are treating me? And when I critique that, I went through, a lot of processes in terms of that. Knowledge, intellect. And because I was aware of their backstory, I was able to apply some sympathy and some empathy. Not making excuses, however, but I was allowed to grasp a bit of understanding in terms of why they were reacting or behaving in such a manner. And guess what? Because I've actually employed that standstill in terms of my behavior or my reactions towards that individual, somehow the universe, as always, started to do their work in that person, and that person started to be mindful of their behavior, and they started to make better choices and started to change their behavior and their reactions. And so sometimes we don't necessarily have to always be on the defensive in terms of how people are treating us. Sometimes we just need to allow the universe to just do its work, because we're all learning here. We're all on our separate learning journeys, and we're all learning. And it will be interesting, and it will be more rewarding to see a healthier outcome. And I congratulated myself because I actually analysed myself and monitored myself, and I was sharing this with my coach and my mentor, and they said, well done, you've actually grown in that area. And so the universe sometimes will send repeated lessons or repeated challenges in order for us to grow. And if we have not grown, or if we have not been successful in that lesson, it's going to be repeated until we learn. And on many occasions, many of us might ask ourselves, oh my God, why am I going through this again? You're going through it again because you haven't learned the lesson that the universe has sent for you to learn. And so it's going to be repeated. And then guess what? When you've repeated that lesson and you've been successful, then you're going to move on to another lesson and the other challenges and the other struggles. That's going to ultimately stretch you again, ultimately grow you to reach the highest form of yourself, for you to be the highest version of yourself. That's what these challenges are there for, to help us to become the better versions of ourselves. And so this morning, when we are met with a challenge or adversity, it's all to do with your mindset and how you view yourself. And as we mentioned in the earlier bits of the show, it's sometimes the way things were modeled to us in our childhood by our parents or our guardians or our caregivers has actually shaped our perception of the world and how things are and how we deal with things. However, when we become adults, we can actually begin to relearn those things. We can relearn or unlearn and formulate new habits and make new choices. Self-awareness is key in terms of how we recover from our adversity. Self-awareness, self-reflection. You can ask yourself, not actually scoring points here, but how could I have behaved a bit different? Or why is this door closing? The universe has something better. I remembered I was going through a series of challenges a few years back, and I was sort of wondering, okay, I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm doing the right things, but nothing's moving. And and because I had developed this growth mindset in terms of how I view challenges, because I know it's there to grow and stretch me, I mentioned to the universe, okay, I know you've got something better. I know you want me to learn something here. So just show me what you want me to learn. And I was literally stretched to another level of faith, of speaking those things that be not as though they were, in terms of that challenge that I was experiencing. And remarkably, you'd be surprised what happened. I had a lovely, powerful outcome, and my faith, my perception of my circumstances really grew. It stretched me. And so now when I meet a challenge or something that's going to stretch me, I know it's going to ultimately work for my good. I know it's going to stretch me to be my highest self. So this morning, how are you facing your challenges? How do you view your challenges? If you need support, then I'm open to receive any comments. You can message me on my social media platforms, on Anchor FM, via Spotify, because it's also there. The show's also there where you can actually send me a message. If you need a coach, if you need a mentor, then just reach out. I'm here to support you this morning in terms of how you can navigate through your challenges this morning. Because I tell you, I have navigated, believe me, I have navigated. And lots of us have navigated. And lots of people have actually mentioned to me, oh God, Angela, you know, how come you seem to be so happy? You seem to be, you know, like nothing phases you. But it's been a journey of navigation. And it's a skill, it's a technique. And one of the things, on a serious note, was that I've mentioned and I've shared before that I've got a book of remembrance. And I write down all the things that I've managed to overcome throughout the years. It's a little red book. And when I'm going through a challenge, I open up this little red book and I read it. And I'm marveled about how far I've come and how the universe and source has helped me to maneuver through this challenge. And then, so when you're faced with a new challenge, you know you're gonna overcome it, because it's just a piece of cake, because the universe has helped you to navigate before. And so having this book of remembrance or reflecting, and it's still practicing mindfulness, being mindful of where you've come from, being mindful of where you've arrived. in terms of your challenges that you've managed to overcome this morning. That's what we're talking about. And so thank you for joining me this morning. For those that are listening for the first time, we're talking about how to overcome. How to overcome, how to master your challenges. Good morning. Thank you. Someone is saying well done with love. Thank you. Everything we have is already here. It's already here. It's already here. We have to visualize it in our mindset this morning. If you're joining me for the first time, I'm here to encourage you that your challenges are here to grow you, to stretch you, to develop you, to reach your higher self. Don't be imprisoned by your yesterdays. Don't be imprisoned by your yesterdays. Move on. Keep it moving. Keep growing. It doesn't matter how many times we trip up. And don't allow people to hold you hostage to your past. Keep growing. Keep growing. Because I tell you, I've tripped up so many times. But hey, whatever we need is already there. It's already there. It's already there. I'm putting it out there in the universe to you for those that are listening on the airways, on social media platforms. Whatever you need is already there. It's already there. And so when you're met with challenges, just know that everything you want is already here. It's already here. Lovely lyrics, isn't it? It's already here. Woo! It's already here. Anything you want. Anything you want. It's all in your mindset. It's all in your mindset, the way you see things. And that's why I have managed to have balance. It's a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual journey. Consciousness. Being in tune with self and the universe. Spiritual, deep spiritual journey that we can achieve. Anything you want is already here. It's already here. We speak it into existence this morning. It's already here. And the universe is going to conspire with you to bring it into reality. It's already here. What a lovely tune, isn't it? What a lovely tune this morning. Just want to welcome, for those that have joined me for the first time, we're streaming live on Facebook and all the social media channels, platform. We're streaming live. Also on Anchor FM, Spotify, you can listen to the show again. And so this morning we're talking about how you recover or overcome adversity is based on how you see yourself. How you see yourself. And so sometimes we need to just reflect, take a step back, journal, self-monitoring, self-observation. And as a teaching practitioner, I had an observation the other day, a learning walk, and they were observing my lessons and my delivery, and it went well. And so sometimes we need to observe ourselves. We need to observe ourselves. Have that critical friend that's going to tell us the truth about ourselves. You know what, Angela, you shouldn't have done that. Do you know what, Ange? You should have dealt with that a bit better. You know what, Angela? Perhaps if you do this and you employ this and you do that and you design this, and maybe that might work. So someone not only that's going to actually tell you where you're going wrong, but actually going to provide you with solutions on way forwards and on how you can actually develop and grow. That's the sort of friendship circle that you need to be circling around you, not yes people that's going to sing to your hymns all the time, irrespective of whether you're doing good or not. And if you're a person that does not like to be criticized, then you need to check yourself, because we all need to be critiqued. And as I mentioned, maybe in your place of work, I mean, even as a teaching practitioner, I've been annually observed. Throughout the year, I'm observed on multiple occasions. As a coach, I'm observed, on a monthly occasion. And as a student doing my master's, as I mentioned, I've been observed. My essays have been observed. We take exams, and they critique, what we're doing. And so, if you're a person that does not want to be observed, that doesn't want someone to give you feedback in terms of your behavior, and you are receiving that as a negative, and you're not susceptible for change, then you need to check yourself, because guess what? That lesson that you're supposed to learn, that you haven't learned, it's going to be repeated until you learn it. And so you're going to be in a situation where you're going to be going round that karmic wheel, forever learning the same lesson, because you are refusing to receive that feedback that is for your personal growth. And so I welcome feedback. And even doing my show, I mean, feel free to comment on my show and how I can improve on, or topics that you would want me to talk about. I am open for growth, open to be stretched. And guess what? If we're not open for growth and to be stretched, the universe is going to stretch us anyway. The universe is going to bring something to our table that's going to stretch us anyway. So we cannot sidestep or run away from experiences, life experiences or challenges, because the universe is going to bring it to us, because we're all here to learn and grow, to be a better version of ourselves. This is what life is about. And so how we recover from adversity is based on how we see ourselves, how we see the challenge. And I know that a lot of people are facing challenges. I was hearing of some colleagues that are going to lose they're going to be made redundant, and how they see that, how they view that is going to have a determining factor on how they're going to recover or not. Because you can say, or you can view it as, and particularly during COVID, as we know, lots of us have embarked on new careers and new ventures and new initiatives. I mean, I've embarked on a couple of new things, and so I saw COVID as an opportunity for growth, to develop, to do something that I love. And so how we see challenges is so key. And we need to learn from those challenges. And so this morning, I just want to thank you for joining me on the show this morning. And I just want to encourage us that we need to make the right choices. We need to create new habits. And I mentioned on a previous show that my son is a teenager, and he showed me his list on his journal of all the things that he's going to be doing new. He's so inspirational. My youngest son is so inspirational in terms of his mindset. He's so on point. And so he made 3 columns, and he said, okay, old habits, good habits, and new habits. And so he's made a column of 3 columns of how he's going to be developing self. He said to me, we do this as a practice, and I've bought him a vision board, and he's written down his vision on his vision board, what he's going to be achieving. He's so disciplined. And as a young man of 18, he's decided that, you know what, Mom, I'm not going to be hanging around with these friends anymore, because guess what? They're distracting me. They're distracting me from reaching my purpose. Because, you know, young people are doing their exams now. And he's saying, Mom, they're distracting me. And when I sort of reflect, he said, and listened to their conversations, and I know young people, you know, they're all about girls and how they look. But my son is so focused, and there's nothing wrong if you're all about girls and boys, cool. But my son is so focused. He said, Mom, that's not my priority right now. And he was telling me a story of some of his friends, and there's no judgment against those young people that have actually had, you know, kids young, because even in my generation, they used to have kids in our teen life. But however, we can make better choices. And he was saying, Mom, I couldn't believe it, that, you know, two of his friends, you know, they're already mothers at 16, you know, or 18, and it's because of the choices that they've made. And it's fine, you know, if that's happened and you're going to take up the responsibility, cool, because life's all about taking your responsibility. However, that can be avoided if you're not ready for that. You can make better choices for your life. And so it's important that we have the right people in our circle. And I'm giving you that example of my son, because he's decided that he wants to have the right people in his circle, because he's got a goal, he's got a purpose for his life that he's going to achieve by any means necessary. And if he has to remove people out of his circle to achieve that goal, then he's going to be doing that. And so what are you going to be doing in order to develop a better mindset in terms of how you see a challenge and how you overcome adversity? What are the things that you're going to do? Who are the people that you have to remove? What are the new habits and the new choices that you have to make in order to recover from your adversity? And how you view adversity. What are you going to do to help shape or change your perception? And as I mentioned, some of us are going to need to do that shadow work, that inner work. Some of us are going to need the help of a therapist or a coach or a counselor to do that journey. Or there's some of us that can actually, as I said, home in and tap into some resources. And there's so many resources out there. Lots of us can actually do that. And so this morning, have a great morning. Have a great weekend. And hopefully I'm going to be seeing you soon in terms of my next show. Thank you for joining me this morning. On Anchor FM, you can listen to the show on Spotify. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Angela Lee, and I will post the replay of this show once this show has finished. Thank you. Have a blessed weekend as well for all the listeners. Thank you for joining me this morning. Thank you for joining me this morning. We have to take care of our mental health and our well-being this morning. And remain with people that are good for your mental health. Surround yourself with the proper people in your inner circle. So important this morning. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me this morning. Have a great weekend. We let go of the past and we remain in the present moment. See you next time.